Also, you can get them professionally printed on one big giant sheet. My son is blowing leaves right there. It's fine. Hi there, I'm Nikki. This is Pin Cut Sew. And last month I put out a video about garment sewing and how I've been getting back into garment sewing after about a couple years of not making very many garments. And I wasn't quite sure how that video was going to go over, because when you have an audience for one thing like quilting and other kinds of sewing, and then you pull a switcheroo and you start talking about something else, I didn't know if y'all would be into that. But judging by the vast amount of comments under that video, you would definitely like more garment sewing type of content. So today am going to address one of the things that came up frequently in those comments. And then I'm going to show you a few things that I've made recently, including this top. It's cute, right? And so let's just get right to it. There were two things that came up pretty often in those comments. One was, yes, what is your easy method of taping the PDF patterns together? And the second was sewing with knit fabrics, stretch fabrics. So today I'm going to address the PDF pattern thing. There are clearly some drawbacks to PDF patterns, but there are an equal number of pros as there are cons. So some of the drawbacks obviously are you have to use ink and it takes time to tape the pattern together. But I also think a lot of people are making the taping of it together way more complicated than it needs to be. I can do it pretty quick, and I also don't mind it that much. I'm a puzzle-mindy person, so I like putting together puzzles. And I don't know, it doesn't bother me that bad. It is a bummer that it uses so much ink and paper from my printer, but otherwise I do really like that I can have it immediately, so I don't have to go buy it or pick it up from a store, and I also don't have to wait for it to come in the mail. So the accessibility is a plus. They're obviously more expensive than we've been used to getting, like the big 4 patterns. But now that Joann's is gone, unless you catch a sale at Hobby Lobby, which they do still go on sale for $3.99 or $4.99 at Hobby Lobby, then you have to kind of watch the sales on the website. I have also read that from people's experience, the shipping from the Simplicity website can take a really long time. And of course you pay for shipping too. So sometimes you buy a $5 pattern on sale and the shipping is still $7. So things have just kind of changed here in the US for buying the paper patterns. And so I am really, really happy to still have the PDF pattern option. And now that it's been around for so many years, everyone has kind of made things sort of easier. I'll talk about some of that in a minute. Like, for example, you no longer have to print the entire 60 pages if you're only making one view. Most of the indie patterns now will tell you, if you're making this version, here's the pages you should print. So that helps be less wasteful and also helps you not be overwhelmed with the taping together process. Also, you can get them professionally printed on one big giant sheet. My son is blowing leaves right there. It's fine. So sorry if you can hear that. Oh, and then the AC just kicked on, which is inside my room. Maybe I'll just give it a minute. Oh, he's gone. Okay. Oh, one of the other cons I think is trying to store the pattern. So I'm gonna show you how I'm storing mine, and it's not so bad. I think one of the pros of these indie patterns is that I am experiencing a better fit to them than I used to when they were newer. I feel like a decade ago when indie PDF patterns were coming around, everyone was drafting for a vastly different body type, and it was really difficult to have a streamlined sizing process. Now that I'm kind of back into indie patterns, I think that has changed. I think it's pretty across the board easy now to pick my size based on the size chart. And compared to the newer big 4 patterns that I have, the vintage ones fit awesome. The newer big 4 ones that I have been having a lot of fit issues, so it's kind of a relief to get some patterns that I can fit easily. Another perk to PDF is that, like for example, the Casey boxer shorts that I've been sewing from True Bias, which I really love. I've sewed several versions because I'm trying to work out some pants fitting issues, but now I've altered the heck out of the pattern piece and I need to kind of backtrack on some of those alterations I tried, and so I can just print a new one, and it's just shorts, so it's not even that many pattern pieces. So that's kind of nice because I've done that to paper patterns before, the big 4 ones, and I couldn't fix it. I had to buy a new one. So I would love for you to share some of your pros and cons of the indie patterns and the PDF versus paper in the comments. I know this is kind of a hot topic, but I think we're all just trying to adjust and adapt to the changing times. And I just feel like we should be thankful that there are so many great indie pattern companies out there now that are doing a really good job, because this would have been a lot more devastating losing Joann's and those pattern sales if we didn't have that, right? Okay, so let's get to it. We're going to tape together this pattern that I have. I already printed it. This is the Pattern Emporium All In Easy Fit shirt. I'm gonna make a button-down shirt. I've never used Pattern Emporium before, but I already like that they have colors instead of different line shapes. I appreciate that, because sometimes trying to find the right line on these close together parts is challenging. So we're gonna use this pattern today. I'll link you to it. I won't sew this whole thing today, of course. I'm just here for the pattern taping part now, but I have this beautiful linen from Linen Lab. This is a company in Korea, and they also have a shop on Amazon, so you don't have to pay shipping from Korea. So I got 2 yards of this, beautiful colors, beautiful linen. And so I wanted just a basic button down that will move me from summer to fall. So let's get started with this. Okay, there are a few mistakes right off the bat that I think people are making that makes this take a really long time. First is trimming the entire thing. I do not do any trimming at all. Let me make this so you can see. There we go. Okay, I feel like you can see through the paper just fine. You really don't need to trim, and most of the time when you do trim, you're inaccurate anyway, and then that just makes it worse. I have also seen people trying to tape the entire giant sheet together, because the pattern comes with like a diagram of what this will look like when it's all taped as one giant piece. You really don't need to do that. You tape until you have a piece ready to cut out, and then you cut it out, and you keep taping until you have a piece ready. So it can be also really helpful to find your size before you start taping, because sometimes you're taping and you realize this sheet up here only has the bigger sizes on it that you don't even need, so you don't need that. Put it aside, put it in your scrap pile. So this is what I do. You definitely need a tape dispenser, because you need one-handed tape dispensing to make it go much faster. A small rotary cutter can be helpful. It's not necessary, but for small curves, smaller the better. You need paper scissors, or just a regular rotary cutter, however you like to cut out your patterns. I used to only use scissors until I figured out this is for more than just quilting. And let's see, I also just got this cute tool that is a pattern notcher. I'll get to that in just a second. Okay, also helpful but not necessary at all is this light board. Some of the patterns, like this one, is nice and bold print on the little notches that you're gonna match up, but some of them, like the True Bias and I think even the Seam Work, have very light colored notches, so sometimes it can be hard to see. If you are someone who has a hard time seeing the notches, a light board is super duper helpful. This Caterpillar one, the Caterpillar company sent to me, it comes with this cutting mat on it, but I actually, when they asked if I would like one, I didn't think I would use this very much, and I actually use it quite a bit for all kinds of things. So I will link you to this one, because I can give you a discount code in the description, and I'm going to use it for this tutorial. Even though I don't always use this for pattern piecing, I'm going to use it so that you can more easily see through my papers. Okay, so here's what I do. I get piece one. I already printed only the pages that it told me I need for the view that I'm making, which is the short sleeve, regular collar shirt. So here we go, piece 1 and 1. I can see right through my papers, line up the corners, line up the center triangles, and tape. Now here's piece 2, and this piece goes here, but I am not going to tape this because this doesn't have anything on it that needs to be attached to each other. So I'm gonna move on. This looks like it's just, yeah, this is just a placket interfacing piece. So I don't even need that. I'm gonna move on. Okay, here I have the next piece, and number 3 and number 3 go together. You just kind of have to use your head. You know what a pattern, like a shirt front piece, should look like, right? So I tape in the middle, and then I like to put a piece of tape wherever my cut line is going to be so I don't have anything flopping around. So like up here, I'm gonna pin all of these together. And I am making a size 12. I already figured out my size. Let's see, oh, it doesn't say, oh, here we go. Size 12 is the orange line. So I wanna make sure all my orange lines have a piece of tape on them. Remember too, if you're new to sewing clothing, your pattern size is different from your ready-to-wear size. If I'm shopping at the store, I buy a size 8 almost always. But when I'm sewing, I almost always sew a 10 or a 12, depending on the company. So use the chart. They tend to be pretty accurate. So now here my shirt front is coming together. Still have this just hanging out here. We'll just see. Look, this goes here. So this one goes up here, number 7 and 7. But look, I don't need this part over here because my line is the orange one. This is bigger than my size. So I don't need to attach this here, but I do need to attach this piece to itself. So ignoring this, now I have this piece going. Okay, here's number 8 and number 8. And now I can see the bottom of my shirt front right here. So now I know I only have one more piece to attach here, and it is number 9. The reason that I don't piece together the absolute entire giant piece is because of space, for one. Oops, my tape is dying. And 2, because it's easy to get slightly, ever so slightly off as you're taping the pieces together. The more pieces you have taped together, the more difficult it's going to be to line absolutely everything up perfectly. My front is now ready to cut out. So normally what I do is stop here and just cut this out so I can put it aside. Fits on my cutting mat, so I'm just going to cut this out on the orange line. Okay, this can get recycled. And now my pattern piece is cut out. See how this piece is flopping? I'm gonna put a piece of, oh, that was my last piece of tape. Good thing I have extra. I always keep extra. Okay, now I can put my front piece aside. Although, let me show you this notcher that I have. So I think this was like $6 on Amazon. You can find them, I'll just link you to this one. And this is not totally necessary, but I don't know about you, when you're cutting out my fabric, I don't want to cut into this paper with my nice scissors. And so I would try to go under it, but it's nice to have them marked because then I don't have to re-find it. Some of them it can be difficult to find the notch because all the lines look the same. So this is kind of cool to just go ahead and notch it out. So when I'm cutting out my pattern, my fabric, I can just put my nice scissors right in there and not have to cut through the paper and damage my scissors. So this is kind of a handy thing. I also like to mark the fold line. All right, my front piece is done. Now I can just keep on going. So let's see. This was part of the shirt sizing that I didn't need, but this piece I do need. This is the placket facing. It's not quite finished yet. So I'll put that aside again. Now I'm working, let's see what I have left. These pieces are the collar pieces, so they go together and then they can be cut out. Okay, while I cut these, let's talk about the trend I've seen of people sewing their PDF patterns together. I've seen this in a couple of Instagram reels, and people of course say, oh, that's so genius. Honestly, I really cannot figure out how this would make things faster or more accurate. I think sewing them together would be really, really hard to get them accurate. And also, if I tape something crooked, I can just untape it and retape it. If you sew something together crooked, either you're gonna ruin that piece or you have to unsew it. I don't know. I think that's a trend that's probably not going to last for a while. You can tell me if I'm wrong. If you have tried sewing these pages together and that worked for you, you can tell me all about how you do that in an accurate way. These pieces that belong on the fold, I still do cut the end off just because it's paper. It's not like the thin pattern paper that you can see through easily. I cut it off so I can see exactly where I'm putting it on the fold of my fabric. Okay, so now I have my collar pieces. What's next? Look, I can go ahead and cut this out because I'm just making the shirt length. See this? I don't need the dress length. I'm not making that. And I don't see myself ever making that. So I'm just gonna go ahead and cut this piece out too. Okay, now I can move on. So now it looks like this is just the pocket. This I can just go ahead and cut out. And the patch pocket facing, this has all the sizes on it. I mean interfacing. If you don't want to do the cutting as you go, you could always just tape the pieces and then cut them while you're sitting down and watching a movie sometime. But I plan to get started on this today, so. Okay, this is also its own piece. This is just the back yoke, so cut this out. All right, I think now we have the other, either maybe the back piece or this might be the sleeve. Let's find out. Okay, so I have 28, now I have 29. Yes, this is the back piece. So once again, I'm using the shirt length. So I didn't print the dress length pieces. The printing instructions told me exactly what to print for the shirt length. And so those are the pages I printed. In your printer settings, you can just print, you can choose selection, and then you can select the pages you want to print. Or you can type them in manually, which is a really nice feature. When Indie Patterns were new, they didn't have that option. This company even had them by size, which was nice. So I didn't have to print the pages that weren't going to be useful for me in my size. Okay, 36s, 37s. The pattern, if you have a hard time puzzling the pieces together, or maybe you don't know what pattern pieces are supposed to look like, I just assumed that you did. There is also a big layout in the PDF instructions. Got this one a tad crooked. I'm just gonna move it so everything fits. There we go. So you can look at that layout and see exactly what your pieces should look like so you don't get confused. Okay, so this is my shirt back. Oop, I actually didn't need this piece at all. That's just the bigger sizes. Take that off. I do keep these big pieces for my patterns that I make for my tutorials and things. I like to have scrap paper around so they don't go to waste. But there is definitely some waste in this method of using patterns. Okay, I only have, I think, the sleeves left. Let's see, it looks like these go like this. And this goes up here. And that's all. That's the last piece. Okay, so even though I was filming and talking to you, I think that took me less than 15 minutes. I'll have to ask Layla if she knows how long I was filming this part. So I think people go into this thinking, oh, it's gonna take forever. And if you skip the trimming and you just do one piece, cut one piece out as it's ready, it really does not take very long at all. So now let me finish cutting these notches, and then I'm gonna show you some things I've made recently. Ooh, this notch cutter is really fun. Okay, so this is how I've been storing my PDF patterns. I just have this file box and I have hanging files inside, and then I put each pattern into a manila envelope with this on the front, the picture on the front. I don't print the instructions most of the time because I can just read those off my laptop. But what I am about to start doing is putting the seam allowance on the front, because a lot of times I remember how to make something, like especially if it's a t-shirt or something, but they always seem to use different seam allowances, especially between knits and wovens. And sometimes the woven one will be like a 1/2 inch, or the knit one will be 3/8 instead of 5/8 or whatever. So I think it'd be helpful not to have to look that up every time. So that's what I'm about to start doing. But so far this file system is working well for me. I'm not really I don't want 100 PDF patterns. I tend to buy one that will be basic enough to either adapt or I can make multiple things out of. So it's not very often that I buy something super, like I'm not the kind that sees a new pattern and has to have it, especially because I have to tape it together. Okay, so I think last time I talked about what I had made several of this shirt pattern called the Reynolds. It's called the Reynolds. It's by Helen's Closet, Reynolds top and dress. And I was about to make this dress version of it in that video. And so I did. Really love it. This is a rayon cotton from Cala Fabrics. After I wore it the first time, I felt like it needed a little bit of shaping, so I put in a piece of elastic at the back waist. And that really worked to sort of give it some more shape around the waist. And now this is one of my favorite things to wear. It needs ironed right now. So then I went ahead and made another version out of this rayon crepe from Cala Fabrics. And I love this one as well. And for the shaping on this one, I put ties in the back. The problem, however, is that this fabric, when I sit down, gets horizontal wrinkles across the front and they do not come out as you walk around. So I wore this to our anniversary dinner and I was kind of bummed to find out that it severely wrinkles in the front when I wear it, but that's okay. You live and you learn. No more rayon crepe, I guess, for dresses. So that is, I've made the Reynolds pattern, I think 5 or 6 times. So I definitely got my money's worth out of that one. The next thing I've been sewing a lot of is this is the True Bias Zoe tank. It's a tank and dress pattern. I probably won't make the dress, but I have made 4 of this tank. My favorite fabric for this is from Surge Fabrics, S-U-R-G-E, and it is this Cupro rib. It is really, really nice, even just for ribbing. You can see it here. I'll talk about this shirt in a second too. But I really love making basics because my body can be hard to fit. I am short-waisted and I have a significant sway back. So I usually need several less inches in the back of something than usually comes. And because I'm short-waisted, when I buy regular fitted tanks and tees from the store, they just constantly ride up because my hips are full enough to just push the bulk of the shirt, and then I have like tons of these wrinkles in around the middle. It's super annoying. So the fact that I can make things to fit me really well is such a relief, and it's been so much fun to wear these and not have to fuss with my clothes all the time because they're shifting where they're not supposed to shift, you know? So this is the Zoe tank. I will put links to all of these down below. If you're brand new to sewing knits or binding knits, I highly recommend this pattern. She has the best tips in there. You don't even need a serger to sew this. My next garment sewing video, next month maybe, I'll talk to you about sewing knits. All you need is the right set of tools, and then it's really easy, promise. Okay, and then this t-shirt that I'm wearing is a free pattern called the Core t-shirt by Closet Core Patterns, or I think now they're just Core Patterns, I'm not sure. This is a free pattern and the fit is so nice. I love this because I like to wear t-shirts, but I look really boxy in them. And so because I have an hourglass shape, things that cut off right at my hips and they're straight across do nothing for my figure. So I almost always make like a shirt tail shape of a hem because I just think it looks better on me. So this is a free pattern. I will link you to it if you're wanting to make some t-shirts. And this fabric came from Surge Fabrics also. And it is a designer dead stock rayon jersey. It's much more substantial and nice feeling and weightier than most rayon jerseys. You can totally tell that it's designer dead stock. They have it in more colors. I think I might get one more. And then these were just remnants of this Cupro rib knit that I love so much. I think that's all. I mean, that's plenty. I don't need to be making clothes like too much, you know, but I have started to think about fall sewing and trying to make things that work for all seasons that are in my summer color palette. Color palettes are something that is all over the internet right now, and let me tell you, it really does help to know what yours is. I thought I was a winter for a really long time. I didn't get mine professionally done, although maybe I should have, and then I would have figured this out sooner. I thought I was a winter, but some of those dark winter colors sort of drown me, and I realized that all of my favorite colors to wear are in that true summer palette. So let's talk about color palettes in the comments because that'll be super fun and interesting. Oh, that reminds me. YouTube has this new amazing feature where I can open my communities tab up to anybody to post in. So now when you want to share a picture that you've made something of using my tutorials or just something that you're proud of, now you can post it right into the communities tab and we can all see it, and we can encourage each other and comment, or if you have questions, other sewers can help you. So yeah, check out the communities tab. If I can link to that, I'm sure I can. I'll put that in the comments below. So I hope this has helped you. I'm sure a lot of people have input with more tips, and if you want to share your frustrations, it's okay, but more tips about sewing with indie patterns, with paper patterns, piecing them together, etc. I hope this has given you some encouragement and shown you that it's not as complicated as you may have thought. And I'll see y'all soon. Bye.